Hey, everybody, it's Ash here. There's been something that has been on my mind all day today. I woke up thinking about it. I was like answering ads and I was thinking about business and I was thinking about people that I've done business with, people that I've done business coaching with, my own self, just in general. This world that we live in has created this instant gratification mindset. And it's been on my mind all day, and I want to talk to you guys about it. This is actually the table that my retail business started at in my kitchen. So this was my kitchen table back in the day. I have a picture. I need to find it and post it here on the page. I haven't posted in a long time. I had one kid sitting here. I was sitting here, or maybe even over there. And I had one kid sitting here and another one up on a bumbo. Oakley was up on a bumbo and Riley was over here, and Riley had her own painting project, and I'm pretty sure Oakley teased on paintbrushes, and I sit here and I painted. So this is where my business started, was on that table. You don't need a lot of space. Let's chit chat. We're going to come over here and sit in one of our booths here. So this morning I woke up and I'm answering ads and like questions on ads and different things like that. And it just really kind of got me thinking about my business coaching days and these motivational talks that I used to do. Does anybody remember those? I used to do motivational talks quite a bit on my business coaching page, and I even did several here on this page. So as I was thinking today, I thought, man, we live in such an instant gratification world. We just do. You know, we go, like, all of our food is fast. When we want something, we want it right now. We want this instant gratification. And our world that we are surrounded by has created that for ourselves. And I am just as guilty as the next person. But time and time again, what I see from people getting into business or getting into like a hobby that they're hoping to turn into a business is they are hoping to see instant success. Or maybe they try a new technique and they're hoping that they're going to be really good at it. And the first time that they try it, they're not. Well, most people aren't, right? But we want that instant gratification. So when we don't receive that instant gratification, all of these feelings start pouring in. I'm not good enough. I can't sell this. Nobody's buying from me. But you haven't done the legwork to be able to get from point A to that point Z. So, but I want you to type in, for those of you all that are on here right now, I want you to type in somebody, and I don't care if you tag them or you don't tag them, but I want you to type in, you know, somebody that you feel is like super successful. Like whenever you see them, you're like, man, they've really got their shit together. Like type that in. Or somebody that you inspire to be like, or whatever the case may be. Type those in, tag them, give them a shout out or whatever. But what I'm here to tell you are those people that you see successful, there has been multiple steps to get to that point. What we see on social media is a very small part of what that person has done to be able to get there. And I know that you know that. I know that you know that. However, it is so easy to get so down on ourselves because you're like, well, I haven't made it to that. Or you start comparing yourself. Comparing is a thief because your life looks different than somebody else's. Your experiences look different than somebody else's. Our personalities are different. And we change. Let me tell you a little story about myself. Whenever I very first started out with my memberships, I was balls to the wall. I was. I worked around the clock. I worked 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours a day. I was obsessed with working. So somebody who was going to pour in 12 to 14, 16 hours a day after day, not 3 or 4 days a week, 6 to 7 days a week, somebody that's doing that is probably going to be a little bit further along within their journey than somebody that is spending 2 to 3 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week. It just makes sense. There's time. But unfortunately, with the mindset of an instant gratification world that we live in, we're like, well, they started about the same time that I did, and they're so much further ahead. But you didn't do the work, or I didn't do the work to get where, you know, this person is that I feel is so far up here. So this has just been so heavy on my heart today for whatever reason. I'm not exactly for sure. But I think we all go through these highs and lows within our business or within our hobbies and maybe a little bit confused on where we're at. The reason why I wanted to come live, I wanted to tell yourself to give yourself some grace. I am no longer that person that wants to work the 10, 12, 14, 16-hour days. I don't want to do it. So does that mean that my progress with a new goal is going to be a little bit slower? Yeah, it does. Does it mean that I won't see success? No. Does it mean that it's going to take me longer? Yes. Right? Like, I'm at a different point in my life than what I was 10 years ago. My girls are involved in everything. They're to the age where they remember everything at this point, and they are involved in everything. And I want to be able to be there because those times, like, they just go by so fast. But when they were little and they were at home all the time, and our main activity was trying to make sure that we had our homework and our reading and our spelling words memorized, has now turned into that we have archery and we've got volleyball and we have travel volleyball and all the things. You guys get it. Right? Like, I don't need to go through all of the details, but becoming a mom to teenagers is a lot different than being a mom to kids that are little. It's just a different phase in our life. Your business goes through different phases, and you go through different phases in life. That's life, right? But this instant gratification that people have, it's an immediate failure. We feel immediate failure if we don't see the success that we think that we need to have. And it can look different for everybody. I can remember whenever I was business coaching, people, and I'm telling you guys, it drove me crazy. People would say, I wish I had the audience that you do. And I always came back and asked, have you done the work that I did? Usually 9.9 out of 10 times for the people saying, I wish, they would say, well, no. And I'm like, then stop wishing and start working. Now, your work level is going to look different for wherever you're at for today, right? It's going to look different. I can tell you I am not the same person that I was 7 years ago whenever I started this page. When I started this page 7 years ago, I was balls to the wall, working multiple hours, had all of these ideas with an execution that went back behind them. I'm no longer like that. I have a lot of different irons in the fire, and I'm here and there, and my time is not the same. And, I've got different staff that work for me now, and it's just different. It doesn't mean that it's worse. It doesn't mean that it's better. It's just a different point in my life. So you have to determine, for one, how bad do you want your goal, and are you willing to sacrifice for it? As of right now, where I'm at in my life, I don't want to sacrifice the time with my kids. I did when they were itty bitty. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge, little kid person. I'm not a baby person. Don't get me wrong, I love my kids, but I love this moment of momhood. It's tough being a teenage mom, but it's been one of the most rewarding, getting to see your kids make decisions for themselves and know that you've done a good job. Don't get me wrong, I did not neglect my kids, but it was let's get supper done, let's get our homework done, we're gonna bath, read, and then we're gonna settle in for the night so I can go back to work. I never felt like I hurried through anything, but it didn't hurt my feelings to go back to work. Now, I don't really want to go back to work when I'm not getting home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night from a ball game. And I'm tired. Something about hitting 40 really changed me. I'm a lot more chill than what I used to be. And I think a word for me now is I want to get to a place of content. Whatever I do, I want it to have purpose, and I want it to have an action that goes with it, and for it to have a result. And those results are going to vary. Right now, I'm in a huge transition time. I went from having a store that was open Monday through Saturday, and I was talking to you guys about that here the other day. I went from having a store that was open Monday through Saturday to just being open for special events and getting back into workshops again. And I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys right now. I was talking to Andrea, and she said, I really think the workshops can take off. And I said, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little scared. And she looked at me. And so I'm being very vulnerable with you from something that I'm feeling today. And I feel I don't know, somebody from this needs to hear this. I don't know. And because I dealt with this a lot in business coaching, I said, I'm kind of scared. And she looked at me, because Ashley doesn't say this very often, right? And I said, I'm going to be really honest. I said, I'm kind of scared about putting myself back out there again for something brand new, for something that I did over 10 years ago, had high success, and I got out while it was still successful. Will I be successful again? I've got to start all over again with this. So am I going to see a completely sold out workshop? Probably not. And then I think my members are watching. because we don't see this instant gratification. I cannot expect, and you cannot expect, to have this business up here when we haven't done the work. There's a lot of stairs to get to that door that we're going to open up to see success. So many stairs. So I haven't done the work as far as word of mouth goes, marketing is concerned, all of this stuff to make these workshops sell out yet. Is this something that we can work at as a goal for the entire year? Absolutely. So I just want to come on here and let you guys know, if you can, with anything that you do with your hobby or anything that you do in life or in business, you got to get out of the instant gratification mindset and you got to get into the work mindset. You've got to understand that you're not going to see instant gratification of a successful business for somebody who's been doing it for 3 or 4 years versus where you've been doing it for 6 months. Somebody working 10 to 16 hours a day versus you doing it part-time for 2 to 3 hours. You got to put in the time. Well, you got to invest. You got to look at a bigger picture than just right now. Like if I create a product right now and I post it out and I haven't done the work to build an audience for that specific product, I am not going to see a result of a sale. But we want that because that's the instant gratification. Well, I've done it. It's pretty. That's fine. But did you do the other steps to get your people? You can create the most amazing product in the world, but if you haven't done all of the steps to build your audience for it, it doesn't matter. Eyeballs equal sales. So there's a lot of other things that go with business. And I'm not telling you this to frustrate you. I'm not telling you this to get you to quit. I'm doing this to hopefully motivate you to say, hey, you got to get to work. You can't expect to see this success up here if you're not going to do all the stair steps to get to that point. And then you're going to see failures. You're going to do all of these steps and you're going to create a product that's going to be a bust. Not everything that we create is going to work. It's not going to be for everybody. But one failure doesn't mean that your business is a failure. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that your product for that moment did not resonate with people. So you got to get out of this instant gratification mindset. And it's so hard because we are programmed. We are programmed to see instant gratification. And it's hard. I know. I have been there. It is so stinking hard to put all of this work in and do all of the steps and still not see the results that you want. But then that means, and I told Andrea today too, I've been in a philosophical mood today, girls. I told Andrea today as we were kind of talking, I said, I don't ever want to get into the mindset because this is the way we've always done it. I hate it when people do that. There is, how do I remember this? There is somebody that I know that is a part of an organization. I'm just going to say that, okay? It's part of an organization, and they're really not open for any new ideas of anything because, well, this is what we've always done. So I've been talking about paint weeks. I've been talking about like the CMM membership and getting more people to sign up for paint weeks and what can we do to make the process better? Because we were talking today and I said, I don't want to get in that mindset. What we've always done has worked because right now it's not working. So what do we need to do to get more eyeballs? What do we need to do to make the experience better? How can we serve our audience better? So you as in business, what can you do to serve your people? I know most of you guys, or hopefully many of you guys, are either doing paint parties, you're selling online, you're selling, you're selling kits, you're doing workshops, you are doing Etsy, Amazon, your own websites, your Facebook groups, whatever the case may be of selling a product or a service. What can you do to serve your audience? So that's where I'm at with you guys right now. What can I do to be able to serve you better, to be able to meet the needs that you're at right now? Is it, some low dollar tutorials that have no strings attached to them? Is it giving motivational talks? Is it showing more tips and tricks? Is it more video content? Is it more posting? Is it more inspirational? Is it what is it? What is it that I can do to be able to serve my audience better? And you have to look at that because in the end, it's always our customers. It's always about your customers. It has to be about your business because we have to make money, but showing up for your people is never going to be a waste of time. Never. So take it from me today. If you are in an instant gratification mindset, and it's so easy to do because it's how we're programmed right now, remind yourself that there's steps. Melissa says, I needed to hear this for sure. I've been slacking because I've lost my confidence. And it's easy to do, Melissa. It's so easy to be like, man, I've seen 3 failures in a row, 4, 5. It's really easy to get down on ourselves. One of the reasons why it's super important to have a community like of other business people, or at least 1 or 2 business besties. It's a super important thing because our family and our friends don't understand it. They just don't. I always talk about our community inside the CMM. It's one of those things like I can't sell that. It's so hard to explain how amazing it is, but it's just so important. Whenever I was very first getting started in with, the membership side of things, I found a community. Whenever I was getting started in with sign making, I had about 2 people that I talked to a lot, could vent to. They could give me ideas. I could give them ideas, just brainstorm and execution and being held accountable. Having our spouses, our significant others, our family relying on us is pressure enough. We need somebody to be able to vent to. We need somebody to be able to throw ideas around with. We need somebody to be to revel in our down times, but then say, okay, we have felt sorry for ourselves enough. It's time. When are you going live next? What's your next project that you're working on? What are you doing? Where's the pictures? Yada, yada, yada. You gotta have support. Andrea, how long do you think with deep work you should expect results? Well, the thing about having a product-based business, Andrea, you got to find the social media platform that's going to work for you, period. And usually multiples, so we've got YouTube, we have TikTok, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram. Those are the main ones. Of course, you have traffic driving things like Pinterest, running ads, those types of things. But in general, I have always found, and call me old school girls, I'm not techie, you cannot beat word of mouth. Let me tell you another story. You got to stay in business. And I know, wow, there's a revelation, right? But I'm serious about that. I had somebody that came to a craft show one time. They grabbed a business card, didn't buy anything from me. They contacted me 2.5 years later. And they said, I haven't really ever needed a sign because they were older. They were getting rid of their stuff. But her granddaughter was getting married and she wanted a custom last name sign. She kept my card for 2.5 years. You never know. The word of mouth, the beating the pavement is what they say. So I believe in social media for one. It is so powerful. If it wasn't for social media, you guys wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have access to my members that I have, or the paint weeks, or the SVG club. I wouldn't have them without social media. But as far as that connection with your people, beating the pavement locally and creating that good vibe around your business and around your branding is something that is so, so important. So that's the very first thing, is we need social media and we need to be able to beat the pavement. I'm not exactly for sure what it is that you do. If you're just selling a product. For me, I had to rely on ads to get my memberships up and going because I live in a town of 1,000 people. Product sales, no big deal. I can go to craft shows, I can sell on Etsy, there's social media to be able to market to, all the things. But with memberships, a town of 1,000 people, probably not going to get a ton of people inside of a painting membership teaching them to make reusable stencils, right? So I had to rely on ads. It really depends on what it is that you do and how much money you have to invest. It takes money to make money. And I know people don't talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about you don't hardly need anything. And you don't, but you do. So, do you have to have a ton to get into sign making? No, but you still do need a cutter. You still need a way to be able to make your own stencils. You need a chop saw. You need paint. You need paint brushes. You can also use graphic paper. I did that. There's cheaper ways to get started, but it's still going to take a little bit, And so it just kind of depends. Thinking of the money that it takes to run my business now would have probably given me a heart attack 10 years ago. I didn't have the staff costs. I didn't have the building costs. I didn't have insurance. I didn't have federal taxes from paying employees. There's just so much. But as you grow, my business coach used to say, new level, new devil. So as you grow, there's always going to be challenges. And as you get bigger the challenges become and the bigger your bills become. It's just one of those things. There's always going to be a challenge. You got to build your audience before you can see success. Where I'm going with that, Andrea, is I feel that putting in consistent work within 6 months without knowing exactly what it is that you do. I don't know if you're going to be running some ads. I don't know if you're going to be going to some shows. How consistent you're being on social media. Those types of things. 1 to 2 social media platforms is a must. And you have to be consistent and you have to provide that for your people. Just sharing somebody else's post in a local area is not going to benefit your page. You got to master social media to be able to build your audience. And people are like, well, I hate social media. Well, I'm sorry. Welcome to 2026. We don't have to like it, but we still have to do it. 6 months, and it depends on what you're looking for too. You know, I always, whenever I was business coaching, I would tell everybody, you know, you at least need to be working on adding or, you know, a stream of revenue every year. Until you get to a point where then maybe you can focus in on one stream of revenue in the year. So, for instance, like whenever I was working from home, we'll just take that because that's more realistic for more people. Whenever I was working from home, I sold on Etsy, I sold on Amazon, I sold in a Facebook group, I sold on my website, I did paint parties, and I went to craft shows. I had 6 different streams of revenue, so when one was kind of down, another one might be up. If I was working in on craft shows in 4th quarter, I wasn't worried too much about my online sales and listing new product because I was making money at the craft shows. You need to have multiple streams of revenue to build a really safe thing around your business. So when one is down, another one will kind of carry through. One stream of revenue is a dangerous thing for a business. So you need to have multiple streams of revenue. And there might come a time where that stream of revenue is no longer going to be good. Like it's like, okay, I think I want to focus in on this and get rid of this stream of revenue. That's okay. Your business is going to take so many twists and turns, you will have no idea where you would be at in 10 years. Give yourself 6 months at least with working on one stream of revenue before you take on another. So 6 months, day in, day out, working. If you're only doing this part-time, I say at least give yourself a year to start seeing major results of what your goal is going to be. Accountability for sure. I know I haven't done everything I need to be doing either, so part of it is on me definitely. And that's the thing, Melissa. And then you can't get down on yourself because of it. Countless amounts of times. People will be like, it's on me. It's my fault. I'm a loser. But you're not. Just where you're at in your life and what you want. Everybody's success looks different. And my success now looks different than what it even did 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I was like, I want to be a millionaire. Now I'm like, you know, if I could pay my bills, I can cover my taxes, and I can, you know, make sure my employees are happy, and I can have everything covered with a few extra $1,000, I'll be happy with that. Because, man, I really like going home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Perimenopause hit, and I had a whole new look out on life, girls. I'll tell you, the ambition to that $1 million, I'm kind of like, you know, I might want to take a nap today. And I feel fat. I need to probably go for a walk. I need extra water. I need to go to that damn sporting event. I've got 5 next week. You know, so as we go, we might lower our standards for ourselves, and that's okay too. It's just where you're at. Meet yourself. There was 1 year I hit it, and I'll tell you, I about killed myself to do it. I had my retail. I had my business coaching. I had my SVG club, I had my creative maker movement, and I had a signature business selling course that I did, and I hit it. I hit my goal. I also did a mastermind. I had multiple things going on, and I hit that damn goal. Took a lot of money to get there. It was not profit. I really don't remember a whole lot of that year. I worked around the clock. It's one thing after another, and it's kind of like, you know, maybe this isn't what I wanted. I need a streamlined process here. Just get food on the table. Some days, Irene, that's about good enough. I love it. If you guys are brand new here, Oakley is my daughter. And I don't know, Irene, how long ago was that? Was 3 or 4 years ago. Oakley was little. She's 13 now. She's probably, 9 or 10? And I would, one part of my launch lives, whenever I open up the CMM, I used to only open up the CMM 2 times a year. And then we would close it. It was the only time you could get into the program, and it's not like that anymore. But we were doing a live, and the live was called So Easy a Kid Can Do It. And, right, Irene? And she was painting. And we were in the middle of a launch, and so launch used to be a curse word at my house to my kids, because it meant mom was busy, don't talk to me unless you are missing a finger, something is bleeding, or I don't even know. But those were the only times. And so, but I would bring Oakley on, and we titled it So Easy a Kid Could Do It, and we were launching out the CMM, and I think it was like towards the end or something, and I said, Oakley, what do you have to tell everybody? And what did she say? What was like her exact words? She said something like, buy the membership, or get into the membership, or get into the CMM. It was something like that. And she was like, so my mom can buy groceries. Or so we can buy groceries, or something like that. And I was mortified. I thought, oh my God, these people probably think I have put this kid, because you don't know who the hell you're watching online. You really don't. I mean, you don't know what to trust, what's AI. I mean, AI is a huge ordeal now. I mean, you don't know what's real, what's not. And I thought, scams or whatever the case may be. And so she gets on and she says that. I thought, people probably think I am the greediest heifer. And I know my face had to turn red. I was like, so we got off and I said, Oakley, you can't say that to people. And she's like, why? It's true. I mean, we got to buy groceries. I said, well, honey, you made it sound like we were destitute. I mean, anyway, Sally says, in my classroom when I really needed students to give me a few minutes, my phrase was, for not interrupt me unless you were dead and dying. Yeah, I mean, I about died whenever she said that. Karen, I figured out there are only so many hours in the day and I cannot have it all. I had to pick and choose what is really important and find a happy medium. I appreciate you sharing a vulnerable topic with us. I am new to the page, but appreciate you. Do you recommend a business coaching program? I've been out of the business coaching for so long, Andrea. I really don't know good business coaches. I don't want to lead you in the wrong direction because that's not who I am. You're brand new to the page. I do a little bit of business coaching inside of my monthly program, but it is geared. I don't want to give people false hope by thinking like I'm doing business coaching every week in there. It's not like that. There is trainings, business trainings inside of my membership, and once a month during Maker Moments, I either do open business Q&A, I teach about craft shows, I've done Facebook page reviews before. Girls, what else have I done? We've done like stencil organization. It's geared around painting. We did, I think one of the bigger ones I've done recently was like a paint party kind of workshop kind of thing. I don't want to give you false hope in thinking like that I am in there business coaching, but there is courses on the inside. So there's a profitable sign making course, which is all about how to make signs. And then, I have some business coaching, but you get me like this. Any of my members in here can tell you right now, if I'm on a live, if there's a question in there, you can tag me, you can tag our community manager. I take questions during tutorials if you've got a question about a business, all those kinds of things. But it just kind of depends on what you need. I have not been in the business coaching for over 2 years. It's kind of one of those things that once you get out of it, you're not in that world anymore without really knowing you. I don't really know like exactly what it is. Are you needing online sales? Are you just needing motivation? Are you needing painting stuff along with it? It just really kind of depends on where you're at and what your business is. But I used to do talks often, motivational talks, and I would have people tell me like just exactly what somebody else did on here. Like, I really needed to hear this today. And I feel like I used to have more like epiphanies. Does that sound so weird? Whenever I was full on business coaching, I would have these, like I would just wake up and I would have exactly what I did today. And no, makes me sound weird, but I'm not kidding. Like I woke up with instant gratification on my mind today. I talked to Kathy about it and I talked to Andrea about it whenever I came in. I talked to one of my business friends about it today. I don't know. I just felt like somebody needed to hear it. Ashley's business coaching and site CMM though was amazing because we know we're getting real info and answers. I'll tell you, the whole over 40 deal is an ordeal. I mean, things happen. I don't even know what's going on. The lighting here is good. I can say that. And we can trust that we are getting the good, bad, and the ugly because sometimes we need to hear the ugly. You know, Kathy, I am not as, I'm still blunt, but I am not as hardcore of business coaching as what I used to be. I don't know if I've told you guys this or not on here. I know I have done it on a live before, but it could have been in the CMM. I don't remember the poor woman, and I'm sure she was probably about the age that I am now, and she had teenagers, and she was in my business coaching program. And kind of like what I'm talking about, she was very frustrated. She's like, there's not enough hours in the day. My kids are involved in everything. I just don't have the time. And I remember at the time, if I wish I could remember who this woman was. I mean, we're talking this probably been 8 or 9 years ago. So I don't remember who it was, but she's telling me this and I had no sympathy. My kids were little, so I sacrificed, time with them on the weekends to do my workshops and everything. And I just told her, I'm like, what do you want? I'll never forget. I didn't get it at the time because I sacrificed everything for success. And I was a pretty hard-nosed business coach. I was caring, but I also I didn't want to hear excuses. If you weren't willing to put in the work, what's the point? Don't come in here feeling sorry for yourself and all this. That's what I used to be like. I'm not really like that anymore because I get it. That poor woman, I bet she was going through perimenopause or menopause. She was freaking exhausted, trying to go to all of her kids' things and I feel so bad. I want to give a public apology. I wish I knew who she was because I would send her a message and say, I didn't have a freaking clue. I really didn't. I'm sure she was going through all this and here I am. I'm like, well, how much time are you willing to put in? You're not sacrificing enough. Your kids are going to have to understand that you can't be there all the time. And honestly, there's truth to that. However, if you don't want to sacrifice that, I don't either, then you have to understand that there are, I hate to even use the word consequences because it's not a consequence. It's just that I'm not going to reach that goal as quick as what I want whenever I'm not putting in the time because I have other priorities in life. So it's just kind of one of those things that I feel like my business has taken 25 different twists and turns and journeys and doors and closed and failures and successes and all the things. I've been on top of the world. I've been underneath the table at the bottom. I've had all the things and really it just kind of depends on where you're at and what you're willing to sacrifice at the time and how much time you're willing to put in and what you're not willing to sacrifice as far as your personal life is concerned. And you just have to know that all of that has a result. If I'm not willing to put in the time, then the result of that is I might not hit my sales goal, or I might not have an increase in my following. I might not have the engagement if I'm not consistent on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok or wherever it is that you decide to be. If I am only going to post all willy-nilly and I'm not showing up for my customers, then my customers cannot show up for me. And so you have to be willing to put in the time and the effort and decide what you're willing to sacrifice in order for your business to be a success and what you're not willing to sacrifice and what you're willing to put in. And you just have to know the less time that you're willing to put in, the slower the process is going to go. And then we have to be okay with that. We can't have instant gratification. Instant gratification with business and with art, I'll be honest, I just don't feel like is something that happens. Are there those artist people out there? Yes. Andrea that works here is one of them. But I can tell you, she will practice something a few different times and each time gets a little bit easier. Each time you learn something different. Is she naturally gifted? Yes. I mean, she went to school for it, right? Like, I mean, she had natural ability. I do not. That's not who I am. But I have gotten so much better over the years. Like, I mean, from where I started 14 years ago as a sign maker compared to now. So you have to just know, like, you've got to put in the time. Mariah, I'm 42, and I know there's probably gonna be some people, I'll wait till you hit 50 or wait till you hit 60 or I'm in my 70s or whatever the case may be. But I'll tell you, something happened when I turned 40. My give a shit kind of went out the door. You either like me or you don't, which, I mean, I've always kind of had that, but I still cared a lot more than I do now. I'm tired. Come 2 or 3 o'clock, I am exhausted. And this is coming from me that used to work 10, 12, 14-hour days. I can still pull a good 12-hour day if I have to, but not 6 days a week. Like, I ain't doing it. Like, I am not. And the result is you're not making $1 million. And I'm okay with that. You know, like, there's consequences for my actions. But I'm just tired. Oh my God, my hair's falling out and I can't lose weight. I mean, it's a whole other deal. I'm like, what is going on? I've got hair falling out here and growing out here. I don't even know. I mean, Lord. Sally says, I feel like there is so much info in CMM that if you do the entire course and get a lot of that business stuff in there, yes, it takes some time to go through it, but you have to go through all of it. I agree. There's so many little courses and trainings and stuff in there. I don't know what it is, Ash. I don't know. I don't know. It might not happen for everybody, but I'm going to tell you right now, it did for me when I turned 40. Things started happening in my body that I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, this isn't normal. I don't feel it is. I've done research. It is way normal. We are not oddities. And things happened to Clint whenever he turned 42, my husband. Whenever he turned 40, he ended up having high blood pressure. And his knee went out. He's had 2 knee surgeries. I'm like, what is going on? And I don't feel like 40 is old. It's not. But things definitely, I know. Sally, I was thinking of you. Sally's like, oh, please. Give me a break. My husband wants to know what air stapler you have. We've had different kinds. Clint is a DeWalt fan, but the one that we have, is this the kind you're talking about? This is backwards. I don't even want to try to pronounce that. This is what, if you're talking about like our framing ones, this is the one that we use. Hitachi? Hitachi! I don't know if that's how you say it. But I feel like it should. They should hire me probably to do their marketing. Hitachi! All right. Well, I hope that somebody that needed to hear this message today got a little bit out of this, and just know that you are not alone. You don't have to be alone. There's communities out there for you. There's other makers that feel the exact same way that you do. But at the end of the day, you kind of gotta get out of that instant gratification. Get up, go to work towards your goals, write them down, make it obtainable, make it fit your life with your business. Pop it in if you guys are on here. Some different things that you would like to learn about, some different things that you would like for me to talk about, whether it be just my experience with things or where you're at in your business, and let me kind of create some talks here on the page for you guys, okay? Kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what it's like to be a part of my membership. And maybe some of you guys that aren't in there, after listening and talking and seeing all the things, it might interest you a little bit more. We're all here to have the same end result and to see success, paint. And of course, for me, drink coffee. Cheers for my cup of coffee to yours. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Cheers from my coffee cup to yours.